Welcome to the deep dive, where we pick a topic and really, go deep.
Dive in.
Exactly. And today we're going way back.
Oh, how way back are we talking?
Back to ancient Greece, over 2,000 years ago, to hang out with Socrates.
Socrates, huh? I'm intrigued.
I knew you'd be into it. Now, before you think, ancient Greece, been there, done that. Trust me, this guy's wisdom is shockingly relevant even today. Seriously, these are life lessons, not some dusty old scroll stuff.
Well, what's fascinating about his teachings is they really do still resonate today. I mean, think about it. These principles like self-awareness and how to live ethically, those are totally relevant in our tech-driven, crazy, fast-paced world.
Totally. And that's what we're diving into today. We found this awesome YouTube transcript, Stoic Threads, and they break down 9 of Socrates' most powerful ideas. They even call them wisdom stories. How cool is that?
Wisdom stories. I like it.
Right. They totally nail it because these lessons really are timeless. Like the first one, know yourself.
Yeah, but Socrates wasn't talking about knowing your favorite ice cream flavor or anything. He meant something much deeper.
Oh, absolutely. He meant deep, soul-searching self-reflection. Have you ever stopped to really think about why you do the things you do? Like your real motivation?
Oh, yeah. It's like getting to the core of who you are.
Exactly. And Socrates was all about figuring out how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't just advocating for self-awareness. He was giving us a method for it, the Socratic Method.
Which is all about asking the right questions, to really uncover those deeper truths about yourself.
It's kind of like all those therapy apps and self-help gurus telling us to journal and dig deep, right?
Oh, really? He was way ahead of the game.
Right. And speaking of questioning, that was kind of his thing, like lesson number 2. Question everything.
He was the ultimate skeptic.
Which, honestly, super important skill these days.
Oh, absolutely. In this age of information overload, fake news everywhere, and everyone's stuck in their own echo chambers online, questioning what you read, see, and even think is more important than ever, don't you think?
It's like that saying, don't believe everything you think. But then after all that questioning, Socrates is like, okay, chill out, accept your limits. You don't have to have all the answers. Ever feel overwhelmed by how much there is to know?
All the time. Like, how could you not?
Right. But Socrates was onto something when he said, all I know is that I know nothing.
Such a good quote.
Right. But it's not about giving up. It's about approaching knowledge with humility.
Mm-hmm.
Admitting that there's always more to learn, new ways to look at things.
Exactly. Like, you can still be curious, but maybe just don't get too lost down the rabbit hole.
I can get behind that. Okay, getting into some maybe a little heavier stuff here. Socrates was really big on living a virtuous life.
Which, I mean, that might sound a bit intense, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little.
Mm.
But if you really think about it, it's about ethics, values, integrity. Those things are still really important today.
For sure. Even if we don't always agree on what they should look like, it's so true. And Socrates didn't see being virtuous as some kind of, punishment. He believed it was the key to eudaimonia.
Eudaimonia.
Yeah, it's this Greek word that means, a state of flourishing, true happiness. Not just fleeting pleasure, but, deep down contentment.
Interesting. So he was saying how we live directly impacts how we feel.
Exactly. And that leads perfectly into the next lesson, examining your life. Socrates was all about self-reflection.
It's like he invented journaling.
Right. He believed that an unexamined life wasn't worth living. It's about taking the time to learn from your experiences so you can make better choices in the future. Honestly, we're all so distracted these days. Who couldn't use a little more of that?
No kidding. Okay, this next one is tough, especially now. Finding happiness within.
Oh, tell me about it. Social media, it's brutal. Everyone's comparing themselves to each other. It's all about external validation.
Right, and that's exactly what Socrates was pushing back against. He was saying all that stuff is temporary. True happiness, that has to come from within.
So how do we do that? It's about cultivating a sense of peace and contentment that doesn't depend on other people or likes or whatever.
Which, easier said than done. But you know what else is easier said than done? Embracing change. And Socrates knew life throws curveballs.
That's for sure. But he saw change as just this inevitable part of life.
And think about it, even good changes, like starting a new job or moving to a new city. Those can be scary.
Absolutely. It's stepping outside your comfort zone, but those changes often lead us to such amazing new opportunities and experiences.
It's like learning to surf. You can fight the waves or you can learn to ride them,
That's a good analogy.
Right. Okay, and finally we get to wisdom, which Socrates wasn't just about, like, knowing a lot of facts. He was about understanding their deeper meaning, like what it all means.
It reminds me of that Einstein quote, "The more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know." Socrates embodied that.
He really did. He was always seeking, always questioning, always willing to consider a different viewpoint.
And you know what's even more interesting? Socrates never actually wrote anything down.
What? Really?
Yeah. All of his teachings were spread through dialogue, just talking and debating with people, by actually living these principles, which honestly makes you think.
Makes you think what?
Well, in our world, we have endless information at our fingertips, but are we missing out on the power of a real conversation? Actually connecting and grappling with ideas together?
Kind of like this deep dive, but more fun to explore with someone else, right?
Exactly. That human connection is crucial. Socrates reminds us that real learning, real growth, that often happens in those moments of debate, of respectfully disagreeing.
So there you have it, folks. 9 life lessons from a guy who lived over 2,000 years ago that are still shockingly relevant today. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling strangely inspired.
Me too. Makes you wonder what wisdom we're missing out on now just because we're glued to our phones. Something to think about.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the timeless wisdom of Socrates.
Until next time.
See ya.